Stop right here. Do not scroll past this. Do not let your eyes drift, and do not let your mind convince you that this is just another video in your feed. Because what you are feeling in this moment is not random. There is a quiet pull in your chest right now. Something that told you to pause. Something that made your breath slow for just a second when your eyes landed here. That was not coincidence. That was not your imagination. That was something deeper than logic, something that has been watching over you long before you ever thought to ask why your life has felt the way it has. You have been carrying weight that no one around you has fully seen. You have been the person who keeps showing up for others while quietly wondering when someone will show up for you. You have laughed in rooms where your heart was heavy. You have answered the question, "Are you okay?" with a smile that cost you more than anyone realized. You have sat alone in the dark hours of the night, not because you wanted to, but because that was the only time you allowed yourself to feel the full weight of everything you had been holding together during the day. And in those moments, you wondered if anyone up above was paying attention. You wondered if your prayers were reaching anything at all, or if they were just dissolving into silence. But here is what heaven needs you to understand right now. You were seen in every single one of those moments. Every night you cried without making a sound, you were seen. Every morning you forced yourself to rise and face another day when your soul was begging for rest, you were seen. Every prayer you whispered under your breath, every plea you sent out without knowing if it would land anywhere, every moment of quiet desperation that you never showed another human being, all of it was witnessed, all of it was held, and none of it was wasted. If something in these words is resonating with you, if you feel like this message found you at exactly the right time, drop a comment below and just say, "I receive this." You would be surprised how many others feel exactly what you are feeling right now, and there is something powerful about knowing you are not alone in it. Now, let me tell you the thing that is going to change how you understand your entire story. You have spent years believing that what kept you going was your own toughness, your own willpower, your own stubborn refusal to fall apart. And while that determination is real and it is yours, the deeper truth is this. What you thought was your resilience was actually divine reinforcement working through you. What you thought was your instinct was actually spiritual discernment guiding your steps. What you thought was your strength in the hardest seasons was actually the hand of something greater carrying you through terrain that your feet alone could not have crossed. You have no idea who you really are. And that is not a criticism. That is an invitation. Because the version of yourself you have been living as, the tired one, the guarded one, the one who learned to need less so disappointment would hurt less, that was never the fullness of you. That was the survival version, that was the armor. And armor is necessary when you are walking through fire. But armor was never meant to be your permanent identity. Your spirit has been active in ways your mind has not had language for. You have felt things that did not belong to your own life. You have woken up with a heaviness that had no clear source. You have sensed shifts in the energy of a room before anyone spoke a word. You have known things about people before they revealed themselves. Picked up on dishonesty before there was any evidence of it. Felt the grief of someone you love before they told you what was wrong. You used to wonder if something was wrong with you for being so sensitive to things that others seemed not to notice at all. But nothing was wrong with you. Everything was right with you. You were not broken, you were tuned. Your sensitivity was never a flaw. It was a feature. It was spiritual awareness that was designed into you before you took your first breath. And because of that awareness, you have spent your life doing something that most people will never even know is possible. You have been standing in the gap for people around you, absorbing spiritual pressure that would have crushed them, praying for things you did not fully understand, shielding lives you did not even know were being threatened. The enemy did not come after you because you were easy. The enemy came after you because you were dangerous to everything. Darkness was trying to build. Your prayers disrupt strongholds. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your spirit carries authority that hell has always taken seriously, even when you did not take yourself seriously at all. That is why your battles have felt heavier than they should. That is why you have faced opposition that seemed disproportionate to your circumstances. That is why the storms in your life have always had an intensity that other people's storms seem to lack. You were not being punished, you were being forged, and every single thing that tried to break you only succeeded in sharpening the edges of something heaven always knew was inside you. Think about what you have actually survived. Think about the seasons you walked through that you honestly were not sure you would come out of. The betrayals that should have permanently closed your heart, the losses that should have destroyed your faith, the moments when the ground felt like it had completely disappeared beneath your feet and you had nothing solid to stand on. And yet here you are, not just surviving, but still carrying enough love and enough hope to have stopped for a message like this one. That is not ordinary. That is not simply a personality trait or a matter of good luck. That is the evidence of something that was holding you even when you felt completely alone in the falling. Take a moment right now and think about one thing you came through that you did not think you could survive. And if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. Because your story is not just yours. Your testimony has the power to reach someone who is standing right now at the beginning of the thing you already made it through. Your survival is someone else's proof that it is possible. Here is the part that is going to reach something deep inside you, the part that explains the confusion, the searching, the feeling that you have never quite fit the mold that the world kept trying to press you into. You were never meant to fit. You were designed differently on purpose. While most people move through life responding only to what they can physically see and logically explain, you have always been operating on a deeper frequency. You have always been receiving information that your five senses alone were not responsible for. And that has made you feel, for most of your life, like something was slightly off about you. Like you were too much for some people and somehow still not enough for others. Like you existed slightly outside the edges of where everyone else seemed to be comfortable. What you have felt was not dysfunction. What you have felt was the discomfort of a spirit that was built for more than the container it was temporarily placed in. You were designed for depth in a world that often rewards surface-level living. You were built for truth in environments that were comfortable with carefully maintained appearances. You were wired for genuine connection in a culture that has largely replaced it with performance. No wonder you have always felt like you were searching for something that the world kept telling you did not exist. But it does exist. And it is not something you have to go looking for externally. It has been inside you the entire time, waiting for this moment, waiting for the layers of other people's opinions and your own survival strategies and the accumulated weight of disappointment to be lifted long enough for you to see what was always underneath all of it. God is not asking you to become someone new. He is calling you back to who you were before the world got its hands on you and started telling you who to be. He is pulling back the curtain on the version of you that was written before time began. The you that carries wisdom you did not earn in any classroom. The you that loves with a depth that has often frightened people who were not ready for it. The you that was placed here, not by accident, but by specific divine appointment with a purpose that the challenges of your life were never able to cancel. And this is the moment that changes everything. Because once you understand who you truly are, you stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for the way you sense things. You stop dimming the light of your discernment to make other people comfortable in their blindness. You stop letting the voices of people who only ever saw the temporary survival version of you write the story of what you are capable of. You stop waiting for permission from the world to become what heaven already declared you to be. If this message is landing somewhere real inside you right now, if you can feel something shifting, something loosening, something that has been tight for a long time beginning to release, I want you to like this video, not as a transaction, but as an act of agreement with what is being spoken over your life. Let that small action be the first step of receiving what this season is trying to give you, because a new season is genuinely here. And this is not the kind of encouragement that sounds good for a few hours and then fades. This is a real shift in the atmosphere over your life. The things that were draining you are being separated from you. Not always gently, but always purposefully. The relationships, the environments, the patterns of thought, the versions of yourself that no longer serve the calling on your life are being pruned away. And pruning is never painless, but it is always intentional. It is always redemptive. And what grows after pruning always grows stronger, deeper, and with more fruit than before. You may have noticed lately that certain things no longer interest you the way they used to. Certain conversations feel shallow in a way you cannot fully explain. Certain spaces that used to feel comfortable now feel small. That is not you becoming arrogant or disconnected. That is your spirit returning to alignment with its true nature. That is the real you resurfacing after years of being submerged beneath the weight of survival. And the real you has different appetites. The real you craves peace over noise, depth over spectacle, truth over comfortable illusion. The real you is done performing for audiences that were never meant to be the judges of your worth. There is something else you need to hear. Something that addresses the part of you that has quietly wondered whether you waited too long, whether the window of your purpose has already passed, whether the years of struggle consumed so much of you that there is not enough left to build something meaningful. That voice is a lie. And it is one of the most sophisticated lies the enemy tells, because it sounds like self-awareness, and it sounds like humility, and it even sounds like honesty. But it is none of those things. It is fear dressed up in reasonable language. The years you spent surviving were not wasted years. They were years of formation. They were years of depth building. They were years in which the very qualities that will define the impact of your calling were being developed in the dark. Slowly, the way the most valuable things are always developed. You do not understand yet the value of everything you carry because of what you went through. But others will. And the moment you begin to walk in the fullness of your true identity, the years that felt like loss are going to be reframed as preparation, so thorough and so precise that you would not trade a single chapter of it. Here is what is about to happen, not as wishful thinking, but as a declaration over your life. Clarity is coming to areas where you have been confused for years. Doors are going to open in front of you that you did not knock on and could not have manufactured through your own effort. Connections are coming that will feel like relief, like finally breathing after holding your breath for a long time. Gifts that have been dormant inside you, gifts you were told were not practical or that you learned to hide to avoid standing out, are going to awaken with a purpose that is undeniable. The prayers you prayed in the dark are about to be answered in the light. And you will recognize the answers, not because they will look exactly like what you imagined, but because something in your spirit will know. The weight is lifting. The confusion is clearing. The identity that was buried under years of hardship and other people's projections and your own fear of being too much is stepping back into the light. And the world around you is going to feel the difference. Even before you have words for what has shifted, people will notice something in your eyes, something in the way you carry yourself, something in the quality of your presence that communicates what your tongue has not yet spoken, because you cannot contain the light of someone who finally knows who they are. In the name of Jesus, I speak over your spirit right now. Every chain that has held you in the identity of your pain is breaking. Every generational cycle that ran through your family line that was meant to continue through you is being cut. Every gift that was locked away by trauma or by fear or by the voice of someone who should have encouraged you but diminished you instead is being unlocked and activated. Every blessing that has your name on it, every open door, every divine alignment, every breakthrough that belongs to this season of your life will find you. You will not miss what God has prepared. You will not lose what heaven has sealed for you. You are not ordinary. You were never ordinary. You are chosen, covered, anointed, assigned, and held by the same God who created every star and still knew your name before you were born. And now your spirit is finally awake to the truth of that. Walk differently from this day forward. Speak with the authority of someone who knows where they come from. Love with the fullness of someone who is no longer afraid of what love costs. And carry your calling, not as a burden, but as the most beautiful thing you have ever been given. If this message has reached you today and something in your spirit said yes to what was spoken, subscribe to this channel and stay close. These words are not accidental, and neither are you. God bless you. And welcome to the beginning of who you have always been.